This is our escort vehicle for the ride on the new highway. Okay, here we go.
This is the big parade.
Well, not sure.
What's that?
Can you turn on some heat? There's some
Some
cold
heat?
air coming in back here.
Where the cold air is coming from?
Oh, but it is. Oh, hey, I don't know about that. Yeah. Oops. Well, thank you for what you do. Maybe his door's open.
We've arrived at the Collierville City Hall.
Governor, I'm Hello, Mayor. Mayor Pirates, so good to have you here today.
This is Betty, my wife, Mayor.
We're so proud you're here.
We're thrilled to be here.
It's so nice to meet you. Well, we're just
Charlie, do you know how to look up somebody's name?
you get to participate in a celebration of achievement, and that is certainly what we're here to do today. We are very excited also to be the host site, and we welcome each and every one of you here today. On behalf of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the town of Collierville, I'd like to welcome Commissioner of TDOT, Mr. John Shroer. We're glad to have you here. We appreciate the great working relationship that the town of Collierville has with the Commissioner and his staff. Certainly a lot of work has gone into the preparation for this event today. Sorry to say that we're going to have all of it indoors, but we will make it through that, and I think it is a very good call. We would also like to extend a very warm welcome to former Governor Winfield Dunn and his family. We are honored that there are many other elected officials in the House today, we'll say, and we extend our warmest welcome to you as well. But at this time, it's my great privilege and high honor to introduce the Commissioner of TDOT, John Shroer.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? We were glad that it rains. I was the mayor of Franklin, and if you've ever been to Franklin, we have the nastiest city hall ever. And so I love coming here and seeing the beautiful view and what you can do with a beautiful city. And so we're glad to be a part of this. And so we're happy to have this inside. This is a great day. This is a project that's long in the making and long in the finishing. Not quite as long, Governor, as 840 was, which we opened up almost a year ago today. We had 4 governors at that opening. This one didn't quite take that long, but we're happy to get it done. We have been in Shelby County a lot in the last 2.5 years, or almost 3 years now, and this was one of those projects that has been long looked forward to. Now, unfortunately, and I've read a couple articles in the paper about, as soon as we get this one done, we're going to jack it up again at 240/40. And but progress to us, it means orange cones, and so we're glad to have them. I'm going to not talk about this road because I'm not an engineer, and I'm going to let someone who knows a whole lot about building roads, who has cut his teeth on every bridge in the state of Tennessee. I was told many times. It's my a man who is a good friend, who is a dedicated TDOT employee, who has given his career to this organization, who we lean on daily for information and facts and solid opinions with his years of experience. It's my Deputy Commissioner and Chief Engineer, Paul Diggs.
Thanks, Commissioner, and appreciate the kind words. I really appreciate the big turnout today. A facility like State Route 385 takes a lot of cooperation, a lot of effort. We work closely with certainly Collierville, Memphis, the other communities in the area. I know Skip Taylor and I and Fayette County have talked about this project over time, but it takes a lot of work to get a project like State Route 385 to the place we are today. Going down to Mississippi 302, ultimately all the way over to I-55. So 55 miles, we do have about a $500 million investment in this facility. And frankly, that's a lot of money, but that's a pretty good bargain. That's a pretty modest cost in the scheme of things. But again, we started and the first piece of this in '79, and here we are today finishing up. Those first pieces were started under a kind of a different vision of things, but we were able to kind of sit down and work through the MPO process and finish it. Some numbers of the whole facility: about 1.8 million tons of rock, 750,000 tons of asphalt, 102,000 cubic yards of concrete, and all of those kind of don't maybe mean a lot to everybody, but 25 million pounds of steel, and that doesn't even include the steel in the bridges, just the rebar and stuff. 25 million pounds of steel, and about 11 million cubic yards of earthwork. This last section that we're cutting the ribbon on today, and that's a beautiful bridge over the Wolf River. Hill Brothers Construction Company was the contractor to do the earthwork and the bridges. Lehman Roberts, I think Pat Nelson is here somewhere. Where's Pat at? Pat's here with Lehman Roberts. They've done a lot of work. They're actually ahead of schedule now. We probably had to twist a few arms a little bit, but they were ahead of schedule on the project to get things finished. The paving works about $21 million. They started in October of 2012. Here we are 13 months later, finishing it up. I really do want to applaud their efforts, subcontractors, the design consultants, the TDOT staff. There's just a lot of people who have done a lot of work on this project. And again, it's not just about a road, it's about connecting communities. A lot of environmental issues that we had to address on this project. We've done wetland mitigation. The bridge over the Wolf River, it's very, very long. That was one of our environmental commitments to the environmental community and to meet the requirements of state and federal law on environmental issues. So all of these things come together has allowed us to be able to do what we're trying to do, make the lives of the people of Tennessee better. It enhances our communities and it enhances our ability to improve our quality of life. So again, my hat goes off to all the department staff and all the engineers, the technical staff, both in the department and in the consultant and contracting industry, and I think it's a great day for the state of Tennessee. Thank you.
A couple things. One is I failed to recognize Johnny Turner, representatives. We're glad to have you here. Sorry we missed you on And some just details. We think since it's not raining, we're going to try to, as soon as this is over, we're going to go out front and see if we can do our ribbon cutting out there. We hope that it will suffice, that the weather will hold off a little bit for that. Also, always, my philosophy is to always under-promise and over-deliver. That's the key to success. And so I want to announce officially that the road will open up at 2 o'clock today instead of 4 o'clock. And I'm serious about that. So, always trying to do things a little bit better. I have, this is what I'm about to do now is everyone knows that we are honored to name this road to Governor Winfield Dunn Parkway. And I'm going to go ahead and take some of his steam. I do want to introduce his wife, Betty, Betty, would you stand up, please? Having this job gives you a lot of opportunities to do things, to meet people in this room, to travel all over the state, to have some ribbon cuttings, and every once in a while have people be happy with what you're doing and not mad at you. And this is one of these days. But what this day is to me is probably one of the most humblest and one of the most important things that I can do is to introduce Governor Dunn. He, and I can say this, I think in the last 2 years or so, he and I have become good friends. And I'm not going to talk about anything that he's done because his history is there for the taking. He's got a book that's a great read if you're interested in that, and I loved going through part of that. I was going to talk about all your accomplishments, but there are too many to list. He's completely, I will say you were involved in transportation all through your years, some good, some bad, some difficult, some not. We found early on, we did open 840 up, and at the beginning, we found some information that really the beginning thoughts of 840 came from Governor Dunn and his Commissioner of Transportation. And what vision that is, that to look that far in advance, and who knew it was going to take us that long to build the road, but that happens. But what I've learned about Mr. Dunn, Governor Dunn, is that a minister told me one time, before I went into an office that I got elected on, he says, it's not what you do that matters in your life, it's who you are. And I have listened to that many, many times. And all of us can do great things in the kind of person that we are. And what's great about Governor Dunn is not only has he done great things, but he is, by every definition, a good man. And if you could say anything about some person, it's that he's a good man. And that's what I know he is. And it is my utmost honor. In fact, maybe the greatest honor that I've had so far in my career to introduce the former Governor Winfield Dunn.
Thank you all so very much. Commissioner Shroer, ladies and gentlemen, and I won't be more specific with the officials that are here because they either have been or will be very soon introduced. This is an incredibly touching moment for me. And John, you just made it a little more touching. And I deeply appreciate that. My heart rate always goes up when I come across the line into Shelby County for a lot of reasons, one or two of which I'll touch on. But being here in this environment and with people who have in great depth interested in the word transportation. My mind is rekindled a bit, and I think of some things that in the past I've encountered that have been extremely effective in making me appreciate what all of you professionals in this room do for the rest of us Tennesseans. It's just amazing. And I don't think quite as acutely or as rapidly as I have in the past. You could tell I'm a little older. I thank you for introducing my family. I'm so proud of the ones that are here, and I only wish others could have been here. But I'll say publicly that I've still got a little gas in the tank. In fact, I'm a little bit like Bob Hope said he was. He said he still likes to chase pretty girls, but it's always downhill. So anyway, what a thrill and pleasure for me to be here at this time and to acknowledge the fact that this beautiful stretch of incredible highway is going to be referred on occasion to my name. It's just remarkable. As we drove down from Nashville this morning and I saw the gorgeous scalloped shoulders and saw that sturdy asphalt and looked at the bridges, I was just fascinated with what you all, you unheralded heroes of Tennessee, do for the rest of us. It is truly remarkable. Now, I had some early experiences. In fact, I went back yesterday. I have a nice collection of Tennessee blue books. And the blue books are such a pleasure to go back and read. I have a blue book from the years 1951 to 52. And I read about the Department of Highways in that book. And I was reminded through that book that the department actually was created in 1915. And at that time, there were approximately 7,000 miles of roads of one kind or another across our state. And then I thumbed over through the blue book for the years 1971, 72. And I was reminded at that time, because it was during my great privilege to be governor, that I had a commissioner whose name was Robert Smith. Bob Smith was from Limestone, Tennessee. And he was from Upper East Tennessee because all I heard when I was campaigning was there haven't been any roads built in East Tennessee because we're Republicans. So I got me a commissioner from Upper East Tennessee, and we got some things done. And one of the things Bob Smith coordinated and the engineers provided was the completion of a segment at Rockwood where the mountain was so unstable that they couldn't make concrete, which was what they used at that time, hold up. And when you started on I-40 going to Knoxville, you had to detour at Rockwood and go all the way around. And Bob Smith and his engineers solved that problem. And it gave me a great sense of satisfaction. That was a big, big help on that ribbon of concrete. And then I thumbed over to the blue book for 2011 and 2012. Remembering that it was during my term when we attempted to do some reorganization of state government that the Department of Highways became the Department of Transportation, consolidating the aeronautical aspects and consolidating the mass transit concepts. So anyway, that all happened during my little role, so I was very proud of that. And looking at that blue book, I was reminded that today Tennessee has one of the most remarkable networks of highways in this entire United States of America. 90, not 7,000 miles, 94,000 miles of roads in our state of Tennessee that you all have to look after. That is just remarkable. Well, anyway, it makes me mighty proud to be a Tennessean, makes me mighty proud to be here today. And I understand and know that a great segment of this State Route 385 bears the name Paul Barrett in the north, and it bears the name Bill Morris in the south. And both of those gentlemen had substantial influence on my life. Paul Barrett, the political giant of North Shelby County, was my dental patient. Why that old Democrat chose a Republican governor to fix his teeth, I'll never know. But we had some wonderful conversations, and I came to respect Mr. Barrett enormously for what he has been to our county and this area. And Sheriff Morris, Bill Morris, endorsed me when I began my feeble little efforts to run for statewide office, and his endorsement to me was enormous in its importance. Well, I'll conclude with just this final observation. As I said at the beginning, my heart rate goes up when I come to Shelby County for many, many reasons. It nurtured me when I came here as a young man, pursuing a beautiful Shelby County girl that I met at Ole Miss. And it continued to nurture me with a dental education at our great University of Tennessee Medical Center. And I became increasingly proud of my identity with Shelby County. And then when I decided to venture out and take a very big chance and seek the governorship of Tennessee, it was Shelby County that made the difference. I wouldn't be here today had it not been for what Shelby County and the ordinary good people of Shelby County did to help me win my first race. Oh, you'll appreciate that. So anyway, Shelby County is dear to my heart as it is to Betty's, and we are so grateful to have this new relationship which honors me so terribly much. I'll conclude with that observation. I did have one other thing I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was. So I'll simply say that in my concluding comment, Senator Mark Norris and Representative Barrett Rich were key players, and there were others, I'm sure. But I have to say that they have honored me, and I will be eternally grateful for their consideration. Thank you, gentlemen.
You know, Governor, I think there's, we may have understood now the key to your success is that if you can get someone from the other party under some sort of form of medication, you may find out some things you need to know. It's true, isn't it, Mike? It is a great pleasure. We have 4 distinguished speakers to follow. I'm glad I don't have to follow the governor. The first man has become a good friend of mine, Senator Mark Norris. He and I love to kid each other and rib each other, but don't be mistaken, he is an important man to the state of Tennessee, an important man to the Republican Party. He carries the governor's bills to the legislature. He works them hard. He carries my bills to, Mr. Norris, you carry my bills to the legislature. He is a true dedicated public service. Mr. Mark Norris.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank all of you for being here with us today. It means a lot for us to have you join us. These things are a big deal, and not everybody gets it, but you all do. So thanks for joining in the celebration with us. As Commissioner Shroer said, it's a tough act to follow, so I'll try to be brief in doing it and do two things. I want to thank Governor Dunn for agreeing to allow us to recognize his service to Shelby County and the state of Tennessee, and indeed the entire nation, by allowing us to fix your name to this last segment of State Route 385. And as you've listened to the speakers today, and particularly Governor Dunn, I think you realize that there's more than just a naming to this. Governor Dunn is symbolic in a number of ways that are important to West Tennessee. His name is synonymous with the same sense of unity and community symbolized by this roadway. I was going to take the opportunity to introduce Representative Johnny Turner, my friend here in the second row, for so many reasons, but many of you may not realize that there was a time that Johnny Turner represented parts of Collierville south of here. Redistricting changes things over time, but her presence here today indicates that the sentiments remain the same. We all care about this community, just as Governor Dunn does and always did. He served as our 43rd governor, and it had been, since he mentioned Paul Barrett and partisanship, it had been, if I understand correctly, 50 years since we had had a Republican governor in this state, and I think we only had 6 at that since the Civil War. He won that race in 1970, and despite the partisan victory, Governor Dunn worked hard to unify the state in many, many ways. Notably for today's purposes, and he alluded to it, the transformation of the Highway Department to the Department of Transportation, and he increased funding for highway construction as well. He also created the Department of Economic and Community Development. And how important this roadway is to economic and community development. So how appropriate it is that your name will be associated with this road. Now, we've talked about this project going back to 1979. I dug from my filing cabinet my working file on this project, and it dates only to 1995 when I was a county commissioner here, and I chaired land use and transportation, and later, after you all sent me to the Senate, had the privilege to chair the Senate Transportation Committee. And I think Brother Diggs is a little bit humble when he fails to acknowledge the fact that he brought this project in for at least $5 million less than it had been projected to cost, and at least 2 years ahead of schedule. Not that I didn't work as hard as I could as the chairman of transportation to slow things down, make it more expensive, but I want to thank you all for doing that for the taxpayers of this community. But that brings me to my second point, and that is that this stretch of State Route 385 was originally to be called the Collierville-Arlington Parkway for obvious geographic reasons, but there's an important metaphor by today's standards in light of recent developments. It's fitting that we dedicate this road during this week when history has been made in another important way. Both Collierville and Arlington and others have negotiated the birth of new opportunities in education here in our county. And with the solidification of sound and strong school systems throughout Shelby County, State Route 385 can now be a pathway to prosperity for the entire community. To be certain, it can be something less, but it is now for Memphis and all of Shelby County to compete freely amongst the counties of West Tennessee for the abundance which follows from the completion of this project. We are a county of good abode, and our future is bright, and your presence here today signifies all that is good about the prospects of our future together. In the spirit of Winfield Dunn, then, we dedicate this road to that certain sense of unity and community. Thank you, Governor Dunn, and God bless you.
Our next speaker is a lady that I have also gotten to know well, and that though through our spirits and our work in education more than anything, except for the fact that she was one of the biggest proponents of 64, US 64, because she travels, that goes through your district continually. And you talked from the very first time I met you about how important getting that road done so that you could do it. A great sponsor and supporter of public education in the state of Tennessee and also transportation, Senator Dolores Gresham.
I just feel uniquely blessed and highly favored to be even invited to this event, because what an event it is. I think it's extremely fitting and appropriate that this segment of highway be named for Governor Dunn, whom I've got to know over the last few years, because it is a facility that is meant to serve people. And Governor Dunn has given his life to serving the people. And so this is entirely fitting. I'm just also here to congratulate the many people who have worked on this great achievement, the worries, the woes, the work that went into it, that Paul kind of outlined for us. What a great achievement. And I'm just here to congratulate you all and to congratulate Governor Dunn for his name being associated with serving the people. Thank you very much.
Barrett Rich is next. Barrett was one of the co-sponsors of this bill to get this road named after Winfield Dunn, and I know we're happy about that. He also was the one that sort of put the thought in our head that we needed to make sure he was here to an attendance. So, Representative Barrett.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to try to exercise the 5 B's of public speaking today, and that's be brief, Barrett, be brief. I want to, first of all, take the opportunity to thank our friends at TDOT who have answered our calls, who have recognized the need here in West Tennessee, and who have done everything they could to make this an expedient project priced at something that Tennesseans can afford. My friend Chuck Richin is in the back. Chuck has always been there for West Tennesseans, and whenever we have constituent issues, he is the first person we call and the first person who takes care of those needs. And really, government should be responsive and responsible to the people, and Chuck is the epitome of that. So thank you, Chuck, and all the folks at TDOT, and all the thank you for all that you do. It's a privilege and an honor to be here with our state treasurer and to the many elected officials and members of the General Assembly and my Fayette County mayors. Also, it's a privilege and honor to be here with the men and women who take care of folks on a regular basis, and that is our firefighters. See Chief Jerry Crawford here. I know Chief Reed Bullock from Piperton was going to be in attendance, and I thank you guys in the fire department for all that you do. And our law enforcement, Chief Goodwin, Lieutenant Joey Hargrove, great friend with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and our many troopers who will be patrolling the State Route 385 at Governor Winfield Dunn Parkway. Little known fact that I will go ahead and throw up, we've talked a lot about Governor Dunn's legacy today, and one thing that I'm awful proud of, and one thing they have
induced me to want to become a state trooper in my early career was the hat that the troopers wear. And we all know that trooper hat, and anyone who's ever worn the uniform of a state trooper is awful proud of that. It's a symbolism of pride. Well, that was instituted on the advice of First Lady Betty Dunn to Governor Winfield Dunn. So when we see the uniform of the state trooper, so that's something we're awful proud of, and it is a symbol of Tennessee. We're awful proud of what they do. We decided that a section of roadway in Fayette County and Shelby County should be dedicated and to honor the legacy of a governor from Shelby County. Governor Dunn's legacy, many of you may or may not know that the completion of Highway 51 that takes us from Shelby County all the way to Lake County, Tennessee, up through Dyersburg, was a foresight of Governor Dunn and something that he dedicated himself to wholly. When the idea came that we should honor Governor Dunn, I went to my good friend Senator Mark Norris, who, by the way, is the majority leader in the state Senate, which is so important and vital to the people of Shelby County. I spoke with Senator Norris. We made the decision that we believed that it would be altogether fitting and proper that we should take this bill to dedicate this section of roadway to Governor Dunn. And as we moved out to Representative Curry Todd, because it affects his district, would this be okay to honor this man in this way? Representative Ron Lawler and myself through the portions of Fayette County that we're so proud to have, and Senator Gresham. So I want to thank the members of the General Assembly for coming together and making the decision and putting their names beside Governor Dunn's name to honor him in this way. I will talk about two different things very briefly. Number one, Fayette County has a large portion of State Route 385, the Governor Winfield Dunn Parkway, within its borders. We're awful proud of that. We're awful proud of the things that Fayette Countyans will be able to accomplish and the convenience that this new roadway will provide to Fayette Countyans, to Piperton, to Rossville, to Oakland. And I think that it is evidenced by the mayors of those cities being here today how important it's going to be, and to our Fayette County Chamber of Commerce Director, Ms. Julie Bryan. It's awful important to the commerce, to the industry of Fayette County to have this roadway. But it's also important for our citizens because we all have a relationship with Collierville, Tennessee. We come to Collierville, we shop here quite frequently, and many people receive their medical care here. So it is going to be quite convenient, and something that we all as Fayette Countyans truly appreciate is having the roadway to get us from point A to point B, and this will make that trip a whole lot easier. Governor Winfield Dunn, I'm going to say this, and just as plain as I can say it, is probably one of the finest gentlemen I've ever had the privilege and honor to know. And Betty, his wife, is the same, along with Chuck and Molly and the whole family. I wish that Andrew and Julie and Gail could all be here today to see this honor, but we're thinking about them as well. They know Winfield Dunn better than many of us will ever have the privilege to, but I will say he is one of the finest gentlemen you will ever meet. Many years ago, I was a state trooper working on the security detail for then Governor Phil Bredesen. I got a phone call that said, answered the phone, "Governor Security Trooper Rich, may I help you?" "Hello, Trooper, this is Winfield Dunn, and I'm calling today because I'm going to meet President Bush in Jackson, and I may need some assistance." And I thought about that for a minute. I said, "Well, Governor, I will certainly take care of that for you," and went to my boss at the time and said, "Captain, Governor Dunn has called. He needs some help getting to an event with President Bush." And he said, "Well, maybe you can go with him. You'll learn something from him. He is a distinguished gentleman, and one that maybe you should try to get to know. It'll help you in your future." That was more than 10 years ago, and I picked up the governor, and we instantly became friends and stayed in contact and became very, very good friends, and I refer to Betty and Winfield as a sort of second grandparents to me. And
Make that parents.
so, Governor was there with me during my decisions to leave the Tennessee Highway Patrol and to seek out employment in the private business world, and there to caution me about all the ups and downs of political life, and so much so, and have become such good friends with the family that we not only name roads after Governor Dunn, we take the opportunity to name our children after him too. My daughter Alexis Dunn Rich is here today. So, Governor, for all that you have done for the people of West Tennessee, we want to honor you and say thank you and let our appreciation be known. Thank you.
This sort of concludes. We're going to go outside in just a minute, but before we do, Betty, if you would, can you come down and Governor, we're going to unveil a plaque, and I think it would be appropriate that Miss Betty is here as well, and this is a great opportunity for some photos before we go out and have a massive ribbon cut. All right, now when the speakers come up, stand behind. Can we move that out a little bit? And then stand behind. You can't stand behind. You won't be able to see over there. Stand right in front. It's just a big name badge.
Can you take a picture?
There you go.
Would you? Just get one with us, and then we'll pop.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Is the button? Make sure the button's all the way up.
It is, but it's just fun.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. No, you're fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're related to Uncle Gifford, Commissioner of Agriculture.
No. Wait, I'm going to walk over here. You stand right here.
Take a picture. Don't cut.
Don't cut yet.
Y'all tell me when you're ready, and I'll count for them.
I've never had this many people at rib cut. Will you come with all of mine?
I'm ready to cut when they are.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Cut. All right.
Where's the ribbon?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're welcome. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm getting down here.
All right.
Let me hold that for you while you do that.
You know what? I got it.
Okay.
Well, maybe we'll think about running again.
but you can I have this. Yeah, no, but it's. Is he driving? I'll get you a big thing.
We're gonna get one picture taken with all teed on it.
Maybe he just got it.
Chuck.
Dad.
He get no other Chuck. He getting wobbly. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me.
He hard headed. Yes. Try to get him to sit down. You know, he had a little episode the other night. Okay.
Yeah, what?
No, I didn't figure he did.
Bill Rose. Yeah, pay raise on 3. Hey, let's say job plan. No. Oh. Okay, gang. All right.
It's not being the short girl.
Hey, I know, that's all right.